Okay, I'm going to say three phrases, and I want you to think about if you've ever said anything like this, or maybe if you've even said something like this in the last few days. Okay, ready? Jennifer drives me absolutely crazy. She's so dang annoying. I mean, the way she talks, it's like she can't even hear her own voice. I'm not one to gossip, but I do think Casey is kind of judgy. I mean, just the other day, I got this look from him, and I absolutely think he thinks he's better than all of us. Why is Tina like that? What's her deal? I mean, she's just as snarky and bitter as anyone else. I wish she'd grow up. Okay, and C. For the record, Jennifer, Casey, and Tina are all fictitious characters. No identification with actual persons living or deceased is intended or should be inferred. Okay, so have you ever said things like this? I have. Often, way too often. I mean, judge me if you want. Of course, that would make you just as bad as Casey. Also, there's a study from about like a decade ago that suggests that 80% of our conversations are pure gossip. I don't know about 80%. That seems like it might have been a researcher trying to make a point. But I do know that gossip, complaining, judging, labeling, belittling, disparaging, denigrating, criticism, cynicism, ridiculing, defaming, and vilifying make up way too much of most people's conversations. Okay, I want to share three different concepts with you from three different texts that I consider sacred in my own spiritual growth and development. The first is from the first epistle of Peter in the Bible, chapter 4. This whole section is fun to study, but specifically verse 11 says, if anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. That's a powerful line. If you speak, do so as if you are speaking the very words of God. The second concept comes from Buddhism. One of the 5 precepts in Buddhism, in Buddhist tradition, is called right speech. I remember reading about this concept for the first time when I was like a college student. I was devouring everything Buddhist, everything the Dalai Lama had ever written. All the Buddhist writings I could find, I was just reading as much as I could. And I remember coming across right speech. It's such a simple concept on the surface. The Buddha defined right speech as abstinence from false speech, abstinence from malicious speech, abstinence from harsh speech, and abstinence from idle chatter. The more I've really let the concept of right speech touch my heart, the more I've realized that words are our primary way of not only expressing ourselves to each other and thereby defining our social selves, but words are also our primary way of knowing the story of the world in which we exist. The words we say and think are in large part the matrix in which we live our everyday lives. Okay, third concept. This one comes from Mexican Toltec author and neo-shamanist Don Miguel Ruiz. You might remember this book. It's like in airports. You'll find this book in every bookstore. Came out in like the late 90s or so. And when I read it as a young man, it was really formative for me. The book is called The 4 Agreements. And without sharing all 4 spoilers, I'll just say that the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. When Don Miguel Ruiz says be impeccable with your word, he means speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. I love that last part. Choose right speech. Be impeccable with your word. Speak as if you're speaking the very words of God. If I was talking about Jennifer, Casey, and Tina, and I was speaking as if I was speaking the very words of God, I'd need to do a couple things differently. The very words of God require me to consider how I imagine God to be. I understand God to be full of grace and forgiving and made up of the energy of love that flows between us. I understand God to have an infinite perspective, so God would be aware of all the pain and struggle and trauma that Jennifer, Casey, and Tina have probably experienced. And God would know that they're bringing all their baggage to every interaction I have with them. I understand God to see the magnificence inside each one of us. So God would see the potential and wonder and absolute beauty living just under the surface of Jennifer, Casey, and Tina. I think the way you understand God, which is likely different from my understanding, will frame your approach to these 3 characters. But gosh, I mean, I'm pretty sure God would use words of love, words of compassion, words of grace, and of forgiveness, and of belief. And I'm pretty sure about that. By the way, welcome to Between most open church on earth. Our church exists in the space between you and every person you encounter this week. Sometimes we record in other churches, but that's where between is. The space between us is sacred, and the way we fill that space is how our deepest beliefs come to life. And between, we welcome and affirm absolutely everyone, no matter your background, no matter your faith tradition, no matter what you've done or who you love or where you come from or what you believe or if you believe or what anyone else has told you about yourself. You are welcome here. We're on a mission to build a community of sacred connection. Will you join me now in the spirit of prayer? Today I pray to speak the words of God. I pray that my words will be filled with compassion and love, and with grace and forgiveness, with understanding and belief. I pray to remember that my words shape the world that I live in. My words write the script of the story of my life. My words create and destroy and shape. They can cut and they can sculpt. God, my words are powerful because they are fueled by your energy, your love, and your light. I pray to speak your words. Amen. Between is about you. Take this message into your life this week. Fill the space between you and other people with your sacred light. Listen, we'd love to share Between with as many people as possible. So make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on social media. Today I Pray For You. That's where you can find us at Today I Pray For You. And you can tell your friends to sign up at between.church. Okay. Thanks for helping us share Between with folks all over the world. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.